Thank you so much for tuning in to The Awakening with Katina Love and segment on Inspiration Sunday. The Awakening with Katina Love show is a go-to resource for self-help, healing, and spiritual growth. You can reach out on Facebook if you'd like to reach me, Katina Love, Katina, Love, Love. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show, please send an email to love@katinalove.com. Our special guest today is Michelle Arbeau. Michelle is a numerologist and inspirational reader. Michelle, thank you so much for being a guest today. How's it going?
It's going great. I mean, it's Sunday and we get to have a holiday tomorrow, so I'm
yay! Awesome. So we're going to talk about numerology today. This is an exciting topic because it's kind of new to me, but I like to get to know more about it. Can you share with us, with the audience, what numerology is?
Yes, absolutely, because I'm a strong advocate for numerology, and I know that everyone knows what astrology is. You could stop anybody on the street and say, what's astrology, and they'd be able to tell you. But numerology is kind of one of those things that, what's that? People aren't sure about what it is. It does use the date of birth just like astrology does, but it doesn't use the sun signs and the planets and the alignments and things like that. It's just using pure mathematics. So it's called the science of numbers. That's kind of the nickname for it because it's very mathematical and very precise. And I find that with numerology, there isn't any gray area because 2 plus 2 is 4, and it's always going to be 4. So there's nothing that's ever wrong. I've been doing this for 16 years, and I wish that I could say, I'm never wrong. But it's not me. It's the science of numbers that's never wrong, right? So I'm the deliverer of the message, and it's just been amazing to be able to do readings for people because they're always blown away by how accurate it is and how it shows them who they are, what they're here to do, and how to do it. And it's really, I did a chart for you, but we're going to do it on air.
Sure, absolutely. It's going to be fun. Awesome. So before we do the chart, I wanted to ask you what started you on this path, and how long? You said about 16 years, but what started you on this path?
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's crazy because I really wasn't spiritual growing up. I didn't attend any churches or, my mom, I was a single parent home, and we didn't do any spiritual stuff, so I really didn't even have any inkling as to what it meant to be spiritual. And I was around 22 or 23, and I started to dream in numbers every night. And it just kept going on for months, and it was about 3 months in when I was thinking, this is crazy. I've got to figure out what's going on. Why am I dreaming in numbers? Why am I seeing numbers on license plates, on doors, on street signs, everywhere in my dreams? And I thought, there's got to be something to this. So as I wrote down each night these number sequences, I started looking around for different ways that I could decipher these messages, and I found numerology. And they translated into exact messages as to what was going on in my life at the time. So they were like answers to my problems. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And I fell in love with it. I was just completely enthralled with it, and I self-taught. And a lot of people say that I read the numbers more differently than, let's say, the average numerologist. Like, you could pick up a numerology book and read it and do the charting like anybody else, but they say that I have a different twist on it, I guess. I see them in a little bit of a different level.
Okay. Awesome.
So that's kind of the weird, quirky way that I fell into the numbers.
Okay, that's awesome. So, I'm sort of led by my spirit guides with numbers and stuff. Would you want to share, when you see 111, 222, you see 3 numbers lined up in a row? What does that mean?
so many people are seeing numbers right now, and it's amazing because it's like the fabric of the universe is revealing itself. It is like, it's almost like pulling back the fabric and seeing like digital code. And I think it's because we're built on numbers. Everything is mathematical. Our bodies are mathematical. We're symmetrical for the most part. We have a heart that beats at a certain rhythm. We have, all these things that are very mathematical. I guess that's really the only word you can use. If you look at the human body, it's measurements, it's numbers, and so numerology is just kind of a segment off of that. It's science. It's much more science than it is metaphysical. So when you see these numbers, these are messages. These are things that you should look at. I once went to a tattoo, what was it, like a convention, and I was just kind of browsing because I was thinking about getting the tattoo 1111 because I see it everywhere. And I ran into this big burly guy who was a tattoo artist, and you could tell he wasn't very spiritual. He was, not to make a judgment, but you can pretty well tell that he probably wasn't overly into the spiritual stuff. And he said, "Oh, I see the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 all the time, 1234."
Wow.
And he said, "Why do I always see 1234 on the clocks? Like every time I look at the clock, I see 1234." So we talked about it, and we talked about what it meant for him, and that can be very specific. It doesn't have to be those 222s or 555s. It can be like 47, or some people see different numbers, and they're messages. They really should be looking them up or finding a numerologist like me who can decipher them for them, because they're definite messages for you if you're seeing them a lot. And what I find with the 111 or the 1111 is I usually start to see them when something big is coming, like a big wave of something. And I always say just jokingly, something big's coming down the tubes, because I'm starting to see the ones again. And then once something big happens, it goes away for a little while and I don't see it. And then it goes in cycles like that, and that's normally how I see the one. So I usually look at it as a sign of I'm going the right way. Whatever I'm doing, it's the right way.
Yeah. That's how I take it too. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's just the feeling that comes with it.
Yeah. So can you tell us about your book?
Sure. I have 2 books. The first one, everyone always asks me why I wrote The Energy of Words first before I wrote my numerology book, and I always tell them because that book, for some reason, had to come out. It was one of those books that it wrote itself. I'd get up at 2 a.m. and write like 3 chapters, that kind of thing. So that book had to come out first, and then I did my numerology book, which is Soul Numbers. And so the energy of words is really all about the words that we speak and the vibration of those words. What are we saying? What kind of energy are we putting behind those words? And that's how we're manifesting everything that we are manifesting. Because as humans, we're really the only species that can communicate through words consciously. And so they're very powerful. And when we put a passion behind it, then that triggers an intention. Because a baby, for example, could say a cuss word, and it doesn't mean anything because the baby doesn't know what that word means, right? But when we know what the word means and we put a certain feeling behind it, then that's creating intention. So that's really what the book is about, and it's got a glossary at the back to show you different word meanings and how to calculate the words that you're speaking. And find your top 10 words so that you can change your vocabulary and that kind of thing.
That is so amazing. You have such wonderful gifts, and such, you're such a blessing to this planet.
Well, I hope I, can really help people with the word thing, because I really think that is the key to intention. And I know that people watch The Secret and they think thinking about things and feeling it is enough, but it's not. Because if you go home and you say, because I used to have a client that used to say all the time, but the problem is,
right.
And you have right?
Right. So, you're speaking it, right?
Right, exactly. So he would say,
calling it to you.
I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to, accomplish this goal and that goal, but the problem is, and so that's why he had a lot of problems. So,
I get it. Totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, words have power. There's no question. No question about it. So, so the other book is the numerology book, right? You want to tell us about that one?
Well, that one's really more of a straightforward numerology book. It shows you how to do your chart, what the numbers mean, all that stuff, so that it's the basics of numerology. Because really, you can get really deep into these numbers things, but this one is just a basic, what are the messages, how are we able to figure out who we are, what we're here to do, and how to do it through doing our chart and all that stuff. So it's really a manual, more of a straightforward numerology book. Okay,
great. You want to share with us all the services that you offer and how to get your books as well?
My books are available wherever books are sold, so you can get them at like Barnes & Noble, or you can get them on Amazon or wherever. And as far as services go, I do numerology readings. I do relationship rescue readings where I'll have a couple come in and really I love working with relationships especially. This is kind of my forte because if you think about it, a lot of people, that's their number one thing is relationships, right? It's like either problems with your sister or your brother or your mother or your friend or your spouse or your coworker or whatever. And it's all about relationships. And so the relationship rescue that I do is really sitting down with these two people and saying, okay, how do we meet on the same page? And that's the other thing that I love about numerology is that it's not who you're compatible with. It's how do you make the two energies understand each other. So like astrology says, well, you're not compatible with this person and you're not compatible with that. But this way we can say, for example, we've got the classic situation where you got the nagging wife and the tuned-out husband who's like, yes, dear. And you want to get them to meet on the same page because the wife thinks that the husband is tuning her out, and the husband thinks that she's just being a nag. But really what's happening is that she's very mental-based, so she's an overthinker, an overanalyzer, and he's more of a doer. So he's more, let's just, roll up our sleeves and do it. And so they have to understand that that's their energy, and it's not that it's meant to be directed toward them. It's just the way that they are. And so once they get that, it's like an aha moment where then they have so much more patience and understanding for each other because it's not taken personally anymore. And so that's a lot of what I do with the relationship stuff, and it seems to be one of my bigger sellers is the relationship stuff. And I also do it with parents and children, and especially the children that are, the special kids that were born 2000 and later that have a lot of twos, and they're not really sure how to parent them and that kind of thing. So it's quite interesting.
Cool. Awesome. So you call yourself, you are a numerologist, numerology celebrity. That is really awesome. And you're out there in L.A.?
I'm in L.A., yes, and I've done quite a few celebrities. And the fun part is once you get one, you can get more. And that's, that's how I kind of it snowballed it from there and was able to get more celebrities. I did the first one, an actor from the Pirates of the Caribbean, and then I started to get more after that. I got the Twilight vampires and an actress from The Big Bang Theory, and so it just kept snowballing from there. So I kept getting more and more and more, and I really owned that title because I thought, does it sound snooty? Does it sound like I'm being, too out there with saying celebrity numerologist? But I wanted to own it. I wanted to say, I got those celebrity interviews fair and square, and I'm going to own this title. And so I really stepped into it.
Absolutely. And you wear it well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. So your website, what's your website?
It's Michelle with two L's, A-R-B, I can't even spell my own name, ARBEAU.com. And it's spelled the French Canadian way because I'm French Canadian. So I'm sure you've noticed with my accent, I've got a little bit of an accent. a lot of people catch me with out and about when I say those words. I have the maritime East Coast accent. But, yeah, it's not hard to find. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter. I love to connect with people. I love to, it's not all about the money. It's about connecting with people. And I love to get emails from people, and, I answer them, and I don't.
Testimonials.
Yeah, it's not about charging people for every single thing. It's, if you need help and you've got a quick question, I'm here. Just shoot me a line, and I'll shoot you back a line, kind of thing.
That's awesome.
So I love that. I love the interaction, and watch my pages because I usually post a lot of good information on there.
I see that. Absolutely. So, how if they want to utilize your services, how would they reach out to you? You want to share your email address?
Yes, it's numbers, the word numbers with an S, at michellearbeau.com. And that's my main email. So, yeah, if you want to reach out to me, you can email me, or, like I say, Facebook, Twitter, it doesn't matter. Any which way, it's open to whatever you want to do.
Awesome. Okay, tell us about you being featured in the Lottery USA.
Yes, this is a quirky story, too, a really quirky story. Okay. So I found a dollar bill on the sidewalk. A week before they called me. And I found this dollar bill, and I picked it up, and I said, I bet you this is a lucky dollar bill. And I put it on the glass shelf that's just inside my doorway when I first come in, and I put them on top. And a week later, they called me and said, would you like to write a weekly column for us? And it was paid. It was like a paid gig and everything. It was like a dream come true, Who doesn't want to sit home and write a column and get paid for it, right? And so I just thought, wow, that was amazing. And then a couple weeks after that, I found a scratch ticket in almost the same exact spot that dollar bill was there.
Wow.
And it was creepy. And it was scratched already, but it was a free ticket. So it was really weird. But I love writing for Lottery USA. They have over 8 million unique visitors a month, and my column does very well, and I'm really grateful for them because they've really helped put me on the map and get me a lot of traffic and stuff like that. So I do a weekly horoscope for them. It's an astrological / numerological horoscope, so it kind of gives you a little bit of both. And I also give you your lucky numbers for the week. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it's lotteryusa.com. It's one of the oldest lottery results websites in the USA. So, and they've just launched Powerball.ca, which is now Canadians can buy the Powerball tickets, which they always did. They always came down and bought them, but now they can do them online. Yeah, so they're launching a bunch of different things, and they're revamping the site, and they're going to give me more exposure on the site. They're going to put me higher up on because if you go to the first page, you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom to see my horoscope. So they're going to give me more prominence on the front page.
Wow, that would be so awesome.
I'm really grateful to them. I'm really, it just happened at the right time and the right place.
Absolutely. So would you like to do my chart? We're sharing it with everybody, and it's all good.
Yes, let's
I'm
do
okay
that.
with being transparent.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I'm cool with, I'm 39, and I don't care if people know my birth date, it's
Yeah,
okay.
I'm 44. Like 44 are my magical numbers. You know what? I call this my magical year.
There you go. And, it might very well could be because, I forgot to talk about this year's energy, which is the number 1, and it's all about new beginnings, right? So everybody in the world is experiencing new beginnings, turning the page, turning the chapter. It's like a fresh energy. And you were talking about how it smelled like spring and everything smelled new and fresh, and that's kind of how the year is going to be. It's like, okay, whatever happened last year, whatever's been happening, let's just turn the page and do something else, because that's what the one energy usually is all about, is moving forward, but turning the page at the same time.
Absolutely.
Okay, what's your date of birth, honey?
Yeah, so it's 7/17/72. So I turned 44 last year. I'm like, it's going to be magical.
You have 3 sevens, and this is, I mean, you must have had a really difficult life. I mean, you
growing up. Just growing up, that's all. It's all over.
and that's the thing, it is. Because
yes.
when we see these 777s or 777s, they usually go through a lot of hindsight learning, a lot of sacrifice, loss, and hardship. But it usually ends as they get older, as they mature, and as they get more into their cycles. It usually lessens and keeps going, dwindling away. But they have enough life experience that could be like 3 lifetimes in one kind of thing. And you look around and look at other people and think, why is it so easy for them when, I had to go through all this, that kind of thing. And let me just see here, 10, 17, 18, 19. Oh, interesting. So you're a 7 with 777s. So you're all about truth. So I can see why you said that you wanted to be transparent, because you're all about truth, and that's really, it's let me see what your gift is. 7, 7, 15, 6. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so your gift as being that 7. 7 is like, let's say we were on the street and we didn't know each other's names, and I'd say, hi, I'm a 3, and you'd say, hi, I'm a 7. So it's like your essence, like, who are you, right? But then you have a gift. So you add your month and your day together, and it shows you what your gift is. So you add them together and reduce. So your energy adds to 15, and 1 plus 5 is 6. So your gift is really connecting the dots for other people. So you might have a friend who comes to you and says, geez, I got this problem, and I don't know what to do, and I can't figure it out. And you're like, well, I see it like this, this, and this. And they're like, oh, I didn't see it like that before. And so you're like really the dot connector in that way, but you do it through communication. The year, if you add your year, it shows you how you're going to share that gift. It's through communication. So definitely truth. You're all about truth, but it's the dot connector. See, it's like the visionary number. It's almost like the eagle's eye view. You're like way up there, and you're able to see the eagle's eye view for other people. But unfortunately, you can't see that for yourself, which sucks.
And when you said communicator, that really, is like, wow, look, I'm here. I have this radio show, this awakening platform for, to enlighten the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me just see now. Let me see. 7, 8. And you are 44 now, so let's see.
Yep.
So it's 39, 48. Very, very, very interesting. I just want to see what your peak cycle is and your personal year real quick. And then we'll be, so 6. This is going to be a transformational year for you, a big transformational year.
I can feel it already.
Yes, because you have a 16-7 personal year, and I already said that it was about turning the page, turning the chapter as a global year for everybody. But as a 16-7, it's like really turn the page. It's like you start the year one way and end it a completely different way. And it's one of those really volatile interchange energies. It's one of those things where it's like you're put in a washing machine and mixed up, and you come out something different, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's really powerful, though. It can be very, very powerful. However, you're in a peak cycle of 6, but heading toward a 9, which is interesting. Because come fall, you're really going to start to feel a totally different energy, and it's going to be really fun because you're going to be in a 9 cycle, a peak cycle, and your year is going to be an 8. So you're going to start to feel that 8 year come in, and 8 is all about abundance and manifestation. So come like August, September, October, those months are really going to start to feel like, wait a second, something's really shifting here. So the first part of the year might be a little bit of hell, but, it's, you're used to that with those 777s, right? So it's okay. It's mostly inner work, the inner.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, I don't want to, I'm sorry, I'm going to let you finish before I say I'm going to say.
Well, that's really all I wanted to say. But I do want to say, well, actually, one more thing is that relationships, starting, ending, changing relationships usually happens under a peak cycle of 6, but because you're in a year of 7 already, you're in the 7th year of a peak cycle of 6, you might have already gone through some of those relationships shifting. And
right, yes.
Like a few years ago kind of
thing.
Yep. So that might be past you now, and you're more focused on the creativity side of the 6.
I am. That is amazing because I have been doing a lot of inner work, a lot of personal development and growth, a lot of growth spiritually, and my life has transformed, and it still is transforming. So that's interesting. So that's very encouraging. It's very encouraging to hear that.
And you know what the best part is? It's like we all are trained as a society to go, 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 do, right?
Right.
And we're always, we kind of feel like losers if we're not doing anything.
Right,
if we're not moving forward, or if we're stalling, whatever. And it's good news to hear when someone tells you that it's not going to be a lot of outer action, it's going to be a lot of interaction, right? So it's more confirmation for you that, it's not that you stalled or that you're, going the wrong way or that any of that stuff. It's just literally where you're supposed to be right at this red hot moment. So
yeah,
it's good to hear because there's always an ebb and a flow. And I think people don't realize that we have an ebb and then we have a flow, and then we have an ebb and then we have a flow because we have to integrate what we've learned and what we've experienced. And so most people think it's always flow and we always have to keep going, but we don't. So
that's so very true.
Yeah.
Take some time and slow down. Go within. Meditate.
Exactly.
Get to know yourself, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So would you like to share like a short testimonial or probably how you've helped someone change the course of their life, whether it's with the numerology or intuitive work with them or relationship?
Oh, my goodness. I have so many.
I know there's a lot, right?
Well, let me see. I'm trying to think of the best one I can use. Well, I guess I think, it really was the first celebrity interview that I ever did because it was amazing because it ended up being one of those things where it just fell into my lap. And he wasn't living his truth. He wasn't living for what he wanted to do. He was living for what he thought he should be. And he wasn't getting anywhere. And his career was, he'd get parts and roles and things like that, but he wasn't getting any main character roles or anything that was huge, like big, significant. And that's what he wanted. And so I really showed him that that's not your truth. That's not who you're supposed to be. And I showed him his chart, and it did what I just did for you. And he ended up landing a role on Fallen Skies or something like that. I think it's called Fallen Skies. And it was one of the lead roles. So he he ended up, once he realized that he wasn't living for himself, he was living for somebody else, it just totally changed his outlook on life.
Wow, that is amazing. That's great. That's good to hear. Well, thank you so much for being a guest today, Michelle. Are there any last thoughts that you want to share? Anything else you want to share with the audience?
Just pay attention to the breadcrumbs from the universe because we're always getting these little breadcrumbs. And even if you're on the street and you bump into somebody and they start talking to you and they say, oh, you should connect with so-and-so, go connect with so-and-so because you never know who so-and-so might, what they might have for you because it's just like a little, I call them breadcrumbs, and we should always just follow them. And even if they seem wacky or kooky or crazy, follow them anyway. And that's really how I got to where I am today. I mean, I came from a city of 33,000 people, and now I'm in Los Angeles, and it's all because I followed the breadcrumbs. Even as crazy as they seemed, I followed the breadcrumbs. So that's my takeaway for people. And it's not just about the numbers. Seeing number messages is a good thing, of course, but it's the breadcrumbs that I think that people need to pay attention to.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thanks again, Michelle. I'm so grateful that you came on the show today. Thank you so much for being here.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you. And audience, thank you so much for tuning in to The Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.